So I'm on the train from Dusseldorf to Cologne, and this is what a first class cabin looks like. Our seats. Alright, see you in Cologne. Those are the famous church spires that the Allies didn't bomb, because they were using them for waypoints so they know if they're in the right area when they were bombing Germany during World War II. So. Now you know why they call it the city of spires, church steeples, church towers. So we're arriving in Cologne. Sort of look like the church, Kelsey, you and I saw in Barcelona, the one that they've been building on and still haven't finished. Here we are in Cologne. So here we're in Cologne. This is the famous church that is here. You can go in this direction. Those, like I said earlier, those spires were, they didn't bomb the church or the spires or anything, because they were using them as waypoints so the bombers would know that they were in the right position when they were bombing in this area. It's pretty pretty. Here I'm at the Hilton in Cologne. Right across the street for a lot of the old buildings. Another old church.
Be a professional.
And there's the spires. And right on the other side of that black building, down there about 100 meters, is where the train station was that I came in. So if you ever want to come here, you can fly into Dusseldorf from London. Direct flight, catch the train from Dusseldorf to Cologne, come out of the train station, walk 100 meters, and you're here at the Hilton. It's funny, Pigeon Post. That's their restaurant's name. But so far so good. Very easy. A lot easier to work with the German trains than the French trains. As you can see, very beautiful right in this area here. So we're going to walk towards the church that was right outside the train station, because I got about 2 hours to kill. So as you can see here, the Hilton with the big red dot, the double spired church on the left, right here. And this is the area that we're going to be exploring today. So like I said, this Hilton Cologne is very convenient. It's called the Hilton Cologne City Center. These are Ukrainian refugees. So they made it all the way from there. But the ones in the yellow vest, they're the ones that help escort the people and get them to shelter when they come in off the trains and stuff. So they've had a long journey. It's a little over 1,200 miles, 1,400 miles from the border with Ukraine. So this is the church right across the street from the Hilton in Cologne. So we're going to take a walk across the street and go inside, see inside. So we're inside now. We're inside the church now, and this is the name of it. I have to get it translated, but anyway, it's a very beautiful church. There's some people in here now, so we're going to try to be quiet. So here are two of the pictures. One with it not damaged, and then the other one when it was damaged during World War II. And very extensive damage to the roof. Open sky. You can see where the main altar used to be. And that is it now. So they were able to reestablish it and also replace the roofing. So I just found out some more information on this church. It was the former Jesuit Church of St. Mary of the Assumption in Cologne. It was built in 1544. And once again, show you the damage that was done in World War II. It's amazing the arches stayed up. The altar, of course, they probably took it away to save it. But you can see how it's been there for a long period of time. And now, as you see from earlier photos, it's all put back together again. And this black and white doesn't do it justice to what it really looks like in person. So we're still in the Jesuit church, or former Jesuit church. The high altar that you see is the altar with its white and gold finish, was done in 1889 to 1894. The altarpiece depicting St. Francis Xavier preaching as a missionary. At the sides you see figures of angels and prophets. And trying to get it up there. So in 41 to 45, this church was largely destroyed. Only the altar and the southern choir, the communion table, the confessionals, and the apostles survived. But there was little damage to it. Little had been removed for safekeeping. Many of the fragments were salvaged from the rubble, and what we see today is apparently untouched and complete as a result of reconstruction began in 1960 and it ended in 1981. So they have a big soccer game here today, and you can see some of the other fans are coming in now. One's like the Hammerhead Sharks, and the other ones are the Wildcats. So it's a big game tonight. A bunch of drunk Germans tonight. So outside of the church with the twin spires, you can see some of the damage that happened during World War II. This is probably the most impressive. You see where the bridges were destroyed. I'm trying to get it so the light will let you see it. It's kind of sad. I'm here now 77 years later, and Ukraine and Russia are at war, and we just saw some refugees being taken care of by the Germans, and now here we are today. Here's a better picture of the damage. So during the war, World War II, this church was hit 14 times, and it was all accidental. So I'm trying to get an angle for you to see the devastation that was occurred. Of course, Eisenhower. The British really captured Cologne, but they did have American forces in the area. Here's some good pictures of the water spouts. Very detailed. There's a better angle and shot of the details of the even the Buddhists have come. I guess they're soccer fans, I don't know. Cologne's cathedral possesses a significant religious treasury, the origin of which lead back to the 10th century. This collection of sacred objects has been built up both by the acquisition of the religious order and the purchase of other vessels, robes, books, and other worship items. Easier you to say these words. So let's go see if we can find these things. Wow, Kelsey, you would really love this place. All the history and what you really like. Look at the details. Some Americans have arrived and they're loud. Here's the tapestries. Sector. More of the robes that were used. It's amazing. So this is called the cathedral's treasury. So it's sort of like the Tower of London. A pigeon. So I guess the pigeon was something important in Cologne, because there was at the Hilton, there's a pigeon post. Look at the details. Sector. And of course you hear the Americans in the background. So what you see here is on the 23rd of July, 1164, the relics of the Maga, were transferred from Milan to Cologne. Thus a new chapter in the history of Cologne Cathedral began. Possessing the relics of the Magi turned the cathedral into one of the most important destinations for pilgrimage within Christianity. Rulers from all over the world, and especially the German kings, worshipped the relics of royal ranking as a model for their worldly kingdoms. They thus got the status of state relics. We're now entering the treasury, and what I started to show you at the beginning of this tour, where we were, this is where some of the relics are that we saw on the little brochure when we started this tour. So once again, you can see the vaulted walls. So let's take a look. So I think that was one of the things that we looked at. I think that's one of the things that we saw. This is the Lamb of the Apocalypse. Some more cups. It really is like the jewels of Queen Elizabeth. Look how pretty they are. This is a chalice and a set of on base scenes from the life of Jesus are depicted. The cup shows instruments of the Passion, Mary, and St. John. Now, I know this was in the beginning. This is the electoral sword, 1480. Get the marksmanship. These are two angels as candle holders, circa 1500. Here are some of the items that we saw when we came in. The brochure. This is the bust of Saint Sebastian of Cologne, 1875, silver, partly gilded, enamel, precious stones. But look at the details on this thing. Look how precise and precision they were. Let me back up a little bit. And here's another. This is of St. Gregory of Spalato, Cologne, 1500. It says the relic of St. Gregory, who was martyred in the 4th century, was brought to Cologne by Archbishop. The remains were buried in the shrine of the Magi. About 1500, this bust was made for the head. These scenes were made in 1748. You can see the spike driven into Jesus' foot. Look how detailed it is. Rib cages and everything. Now this is when it gets kind of weird. These are bones from a religious person, Saint Bartholomew, a queen. So this room has all the relics in it. So we'll move over to the next one. I don't know what bones they are, but they got. Oh, these are links from St. Peter's chains. dated 1500. These are 18th century. The Bowl of St. Francis. These are relics. This is the shrine of Saint Engelbert. On the narrow sides of the shrine are depicted the admiration of Magda and Christ as rulers of the world, between Saint Peter and Saint, can't see the word, the bishops of Cologne. Look how detailed these things are. Come here to visit. That's the train station. See the Rolex sign between the Rolex and the end of the church. Turn to the right, and you will be there at the windy and everything. And now I'm going to make my way over to the cathedral. To go inside the cathedral, because this is the cathedral treasury. Here we go. So here we are in the front of the cathedral now, but I want to give you a shot of everything around this square. It's called Cathedral Square, and of course we have our McDonald's. As I said, this is the city of cathedrals. There's another one. Another one on the back side of that. If you can see, the sun is really bright today and the wind is really blowing. Now this really does look like Westminster Abbey. just pipe organs. See where the gentleman sits at the bottom. You can see the beautiful stained glass windows. Detail of the statues. The stained glass windows, they're always so vivid in color. It just jumps out at you, and for them to be able to do something like that so many years ago, it's just amazing. I'm trying to get in. Look how bright the red is, the blue, the green.